Hello guys, it's really been a while. I think I would say it's going to be back or something. So first off, I would like to apologize for, you know, being off from the course completion for quite over a year. And honestly, some of those things happens. That's why So I've been watching some consistency and motivational videos, and I've decided to come back and finish what we started. Right. So we're going to be kicking off really with full force. I've received lots of reviews about the video so far. That it's really been enlightening, and some of these comments from all of you are really one of the things that said I must finish this video this year. So together we're going to be looking out for how much we can get to cover together, right? So just right away, we'll be looking at a lot of very exciting things, right? And the last thing we did was prototyping, right? So there are lots of very key core soft skills that you really need in your design journey. So we're going to be touching a lot of very important things, we're talking about, variants, how to even design auto layouts, grid system, typography, designing icons, maybe accessibility, all of that. We're going to be talking about all of that, and we're going to be finishing this course. And I'll be so excited to see the beautiful future designs you'll be making. So yeah, thank you so much, and let's get right in. Thank you.
Yeah, guys. The first thing we're going to look at is we'll first off log into our Figma, and one exciting thing we're going to get to check out is our auto flow, like we made mention of earlier. Um, yeah, I just want to open. Um, I want us to work on the site mapping we worked with a while back. If you remember this beautiful design of ours, yeah. So remember that we kind of like copied I wouldn't say copied, we used the Figma community to get this right, and you can see how very responsive this is and all of that. So we want to get to learn how to do this by ourselves, and I think that would really give us a foundational skill and knowledge of auto flow, and how we can really use and utilize it in making our designs very responsive, so that in the case of whatever we get to do, we see our design, expanding and, just following suit and stuff. So let's get right into it. All right, guys. Like we were saying earlier, so let me just load up my Figma. So we're saying one thing we're going to look out for, these are really extra skills and knowledge that could really, you know, do us a great deal in our designing. And so glad that it had to take us this while to get to do this, right? So I know initially we spoke about going to the Figma community. Let me duplicate this tab. We spoke about going into the Figma community. So you can always come here, explore community, and you want to search maybe sitemap templates, right? Sitemap template. I literally just saw the sitemap template we used pop up on me, like literally. How did it just disappear on me? Right? So like you can see here, right? You see a lot of sitemap templates, right? So you just have to scroll and scroll. Um, you just have to do a good scroll, and you can just pick whatever from the community, right? There are lots of designs out there that people have already worked on to save time, right? But despite, I know it's really important and cool you get to save time, right? But it's also important I really get to. I know I didn't show us how to do this. I was hoping to get to do that while we get into designing our hi-fi and even our wireframing. And yeah, I still think if I introduce that now, it's going to really do us a great deal. And so, like we were saying earlier, this is literally what we used from the template we got. So I want to show you that you can really get to design this yourself if you so wish. You know, this is how very responsive this is. If I duplicate, I'm hitting Ctrl D now. I'm hitting Ctrl D now. If I duplicate, you see how that happens. It's very responsive, and even down to if we try to resize, you see how very responsive, right? To some level, actually very responsive. So I'm just going to restore. So we're going to be looking at auto flow, right? Um, this is really going to help us in, when we want to design something very responsive, right? When we're talking about responsive design, so that when a frame, is being, it's when a frame size is increasing or decreasing, our design stays very responsive to the shapes and sizes. So without further ado, let's get right into it. So like if you have noticed correctly, I think we have about a couple components from here, right? We have these ones. These are like a different group. Then we have the title, then we have a frame, and then we have this up here. So there are 1,001 ways you can get to do this, but we're just going to look at this very unique way. So you would actually notice me using a lot of frames. So just don't bother about that. It's really going to be cool and interesting. It's really exciting to see that you can literally use frames to do all of these things that you might want to use rectangles for and all of that. And it's mainly for a good reason, because frame is really cool when you get to do you know when you're trying to set your auto layout and all of that. So I'm just going to go right into creating a text. I'm just going to hit my T. So let me just copy this and just let me move this a little bit off the frame. Let's have our own workspace right here. So I'm just going to hit my T and I want to say public link. Okay, I want to onboarding this. I think I should just give it. Let me see the font size. Okay, the font size is 18. Let me just give it a 16 and maybe medium. Okay, we can leave it a medium. And this is simply just a text. Now if we right click, we can see an option here that says frame selection, right? It's more like wrapping it in a frame. And and you see the shortcut there is frame selection. So I can name that, what should we name that? Like if you see in our left panel here, let me just say, let's just call it public, right? Okay, and it's a frame now. So one other exciting thing we would want to do is we should be making this an auto layout, right? And just like you must have noticed, there's really been a lot of modifications on the Figma, and that's due to, it's been a while we're here. It's really been a while. I think a couple years, right? I sincerely apologize for that, but we're back. You can see where what do they call this again? Tools bar is bottom, and at the right, there's little, changes now, unlike how it used to be. But this is still fine as far as we're designers, and this is the software we've been working with. We can always figure things out, right? So we're going to use auto layout, right? And now auto layout has been set. So I'm just going to put this at 0. Let's give it a padding, a horizontal padding of 16 and 16 here too. Okay, so this is what we have. And okay, I mean, I would want to give it a feel. Let's just pick this color right here. Of course, you can. not please, you just have to ensure that you're actually selecting the frame. So you can actually use I to as a shortcut for that picker tool, and we are going to this. Uh, so that's that, and yeah, let me just what's to like we can see here, we have a corner radius of 7 pixels on on the frame here. I want to also get to know the width and height measurements. Where's that guy hiding? Okay, so it has a width of 264, is that, and the height of 54. So I think we can just do that here. Give it a width of 254, the height of 54, right? Okay, so and maybe we can give it a radius of corner radius of about 5. Okay, it's pretty minimal, so we can take it to 7 if we want. Okay, and there's one more exciting thing. We have to, we have to include a stroke. Yeah, and stroke is quite thin, so I'm putting the stroke at 2. So the stroke is dark. I can choose to possibly maybe still use this same color, then maybe bring it to the darker part of the color, right? So it wouldn't be entirely black. That will still be fine. And I want to, duplicate this and duplicate. So let's just work with this for testing purposes. All right, so we have this. So of course I can choose to, rename all this here, members only, um, login, sign up, outside. Uh, so we're back to that. And to still make this cooler, I think I could do same for the stroke. Maybe um, utilize same thing and just come to the darker section of that color. Uh, and same thing here, just come to the darker section of the set color. It just really gives it this cool vibe of like a shadow, a drop shadow or something. Those. So yeah, so now we've sorted or fixed for this very first step here, right? And one other thing we really want to do, I'm just going to get all of this together and we're going to do this same thing again on frame selection, right? And you can see it's named here frame 1. So let's say we want to name, what do we name this now? Let's say link body, right? Now, it's named link body, right? So it's all wrapped in, you know, in another frame. And we want to set an auto layout for that too. It's very, very important. We really want to set an auto layout for that. And with the auto layout, we can get to you see a lot of cool stuff like you can see here it tells us that the direction is vertical, so if I want to realign this and put it horizontal, you see how it's going to look like, right? So we want it to be vertical and a lot of options. Yeah, vertical gap in between is 12 pixels. I can choose to reduce it to 10 pixels. Let's see about padding. Let's see if we can give it a padding of 16. A padding of 16. Yeah, I think this is cool. This is cool. Then I want to have another I want to have another text, right? First off, okay, I want to have a text, and that text should be title. And this title, I think I can make it 18. I think I can make it 18 so it be a bit bolder than the others, and maybe give it a semi-bold or even a bold if possible. So hold up, I think I should take off the padding here. Let me go. I think I should just take off the padding here so that we just have the right alignment of what I'm doing. So I just want to see the right alignment of everything I'm doing, right? And I'll just press my Control Alt G. Remember what that does? We just use it to make it a frame, right? Now it's a frame like you can see here. Let's just call it title here. And okay, so we have a frame and we have about two frames here. When I say two frames, I mean each of these capsules is a frame and they are all wrapped in a frame, right? So another thing I want to do is I want to select these two. I want to select these two and wrap them in another frame, right? Control Alt G, and I've wrapped them into another frame. What do I call this? What do I call this? Uh, let's just say main body. That's the first one that comes off as, right? So now we have this, right? And honestly, this is already going to be pretty much very responsive. Like if I try to duplicate in here, you can see it's already doing about the same thing, right? Okay, now here comes the moment of truth. We're trying to get exactly this part of this here, right? So it's not really going to be much of a big deal. We're just simply going to maybe just have an ellipse, and I want to give it a height and width of 10, and let's just give it colors. Give it these, duplicate that, and give it this, and do another duplicate, yeah, and give it green. So now we have this, right? And you know the drill, we want to have another frame, um Control Alt G, what do we call this? Let's say traffic color. Lit, let's say lit header. Yeah, lit header. And we want to make this also an auto layout, right? It's very, 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 very important. We want to make it an auto layout. Oh, this is going to be so exciting. This has a width of 296, a height of 42. So we want to go to our lead header. Where's our lead header? Yeah, lead header 296, 296 and 42. Okay, now we have exactly that. So we want to give it a color of this. Exactly, we're making progress, we're making progress. And is this spacing in between cool? I think it's cool. Seven should be cool. So if you want to increase it to 10, that's still fine. And let's give it a padding of about 16. Okay. Let's give it another padding of 16. Horizontal and vertical. I think this is it. We have something really nice. And yeah, we would want to give it a radius. I think we can give this a corner radius of 7. Let's see how that goes. 7. Let me try to give it a corner radius of 10. Okay, I think this 10 is pretty cool. It's pretty cool. Now, I think this is about it. We really do have all of the main things we really want to have right here. So this is a frame, and this is a frame. All of these were wrapped in a frame, and this was also wrapped in a frame, right? Now, it's to just give you the understanding, it's very important we get to do this so that it get to have that feeling of a standalone, right? It gets to know that it's standing alone, because if we really do not do this way, it's going to like break. I don't really know how else to put this, but just do like I do, just do this with me, and as you keep designing, you're really going to understand better, right? I'm trying to save time. I don't want to experiment a lot of other things that could and how a lot of other things and how they could go wrong. So I don't want this video to be all that long. So let's just flow with this. And next thing I want to do is I would want to wrap all of this in a frame. And you know our shortcut now, Control L or G. And let's just see, you see here, it's always going to have that name frame one because nobody is answering frame one. I can still leave the name frame one, but since I've already entire body, since I've already started modifying the name, let's just give it the entire body, right? It has that name entire body. And okay, so this is our entire body. Here's our entire body. So I think we need to give it an outline. We need to give it a stroke. It's two gonna be okay. Yeah, two is okay. And as you can see here, you notice what's going on here. It's really not cool. So we can very easily fix that by just clicking on clip content here. What? What's going on? Clip content now. Come on. What's going on? Why are you not doing well? You should clip. Come on, bro. Entire body. Hmm. This is trying to dare me. This is trying to dare me. Okay, I think it was. Let me uncheck this first. Okay. Okay. I think it actually did clip. It actually did clip. What happened initially was the radius here was way too much. So you're seeing the curve in here, right? To confirm it did clip. Um, if I if I like if I uncheck this here, you can see that the frame is coming above the stroke. So because it's on clip, it's literally inside the stroke. So to make it really cool and not visible, so what we want to do is reduce the radius to like 7, and it all marries in just like that, right? And yes, I think we've really done well. Now we just have to arrange this to look exactly like this, right? So what do we want to do now? Our entire body, we want to convert it to an auto layout. And now it's an auto layout. And what else do we want to do? It's having a vertical gap of 15. Let's put this at 0. Okay, 15 is good. 0. Okay, 15 is good. Now, I just hope you've been able to see like one of the reasons why it's kind of like very cool you get to have multiple frames differently, right? Now I'm trying to set the vertical gap. You see, as if I set this to 0, just the gap between the top and the title is being affected, and that is because that is the only frame that this auto layout can actually affect. So all of the context inside it, because this is actually a different frame on its own, if you remember, we'll call this main body. So it's seeing only one frame. Like if I get to duplicate this now, you see how they are all going to now what our entire body is seeing is just two two contents, even though each of these content is actually multiple contents, right? It's not getting to see that. So if I get to put the gap between object back to 15, it's seeing just these two, right? So I'm just going to delete this, right? So that way I'm able to control how I really want each content to behave. So I've been able to set how the content within this frame would act and behave. So I let it save that way so that whatever changes I'm like causing here would not really be, affecting everything I'm doing, right? So yeah, that's that. We want to come back to the entire body. What other things do we want to do? Ooh, we want to padding, let's see 16. Okay, yes, we want to set padding at 16. Okay, now we really do not want this to happen this way. We really do not want our what do we call this? Yeah, our lead header to be affected by, right? We don't want our lead header to be affected. So how can we solve for that? Um, I think that should be pretty easy. So I'm just going to come to the main body, this main body frame, and let's try that now. Let's try that now. Let's set the auto layout and let's give padding of 16. Okay, and 16 here too. Okay, now I just hope you're still getting to see one of the very reasons why it's very, very important we get to separate frames. Now, you see, by simply doing that, I've been able to control an action for just this content and the frames here and not the entirety, right? So it's really, really cool. Really, really cool. Get to see that. It's really, really cool. Get to see and do things this way, right? And yeah, I think we're just about done. I think we're just about done. Are we missing anything? Are we missing anything? I do not think so. I do not think so. Yes, I think I should just leave it 7. Stroke, whatever stroke is outside. Oh, So let me check this. So if I get to increase the width here of our entire body frame, does this increase with it? Okay, it doesn't increase with it. And that's pretty simple. We have to ensure that when we come here, okay, it's at fill container. We want to put this at fill. It's at fill container. Come on, what's going on? What's going on? What is what is going on? This is set to fail. So I really don't think there's really an issue anywhere. This is set to fail. Fail. Okay, yeah. So you have to ensure that all of it is actually set to fill, like the content fills the frame. I have to first of all come down to just this frame here and make sure that it's fill. Then came to this wrap body fill so that whatever happens, so that in case frame is being changed, it can always fill it, right? And let me see for this right here. Okay. We didn't do for this. We don't really need that, right? So I think that's about that. And what we can duplicate. Okay, I know why this is doing this. I want to set this to hog content. We don't want that. Yeah. So sorry for we want that to be so. No, no, no. It shouldn't hide our contents. Why isn't our frame growing? What's going on? Why isn't our frame growing? Let me set all this as all first. Then my input. Okay, let me try this again. Okay, yes, this is exactly what we want. So the height should be set at hog. The height should be, hog content, while the width resizing will be fill container. So that as you go like this, it increases. And as you duplicate, it actually, and if I get to delete something, it reduces, right? Very responsive. That's what we want to do. And I would also want to quickly touch on something, and that's our components. And yeah, I know we've spoken about components a lot while we were handling user flow, right? So a couple things that we didn't really get to speak about is, variance, right? Variance is actually very cool. It's a cool feature. And just to also do a brief reminder on components, right? So if we want to make anything a component, we just want to, there are various ways to do that. Yes, I can just come in here and you see, I can come right here. Let's see, no, I don't want it in here. Let me bring it out here. So all of this stuff here, right? And I can just have all this here and I can make all of them a component, right? I can make this a component. So I think we should highlight them individually. Highlight them individually. And we see a lot of exciting features here, right? And we can create multiple components, right? Now we know where to find our components right here. We see our components, right? This is our components. Components. And this is our primary component, right? So I think I should just give them a little color is slightly lower than. So I did that so that I'll be able to identify, the different components. So we know we can always come here, take whatever we want, right? And we can swap the instance, right? So when we make a component, we already know that this is our primary component. And if we keep um using that component from our component library. All of these things here, they are called instances, right? They are instances of the component because whatever thing you do here does not affect the primary component, right? But if say I don't want my I don't want this to be all this rectangular no more. Say I want to really increase the corner radius. Let's say I'm designing, I want all the corner radius everywhere should be, circular looking. Say I want to put it at 15. And, having to do it one after the other will be really, really stressful. So I'll just have to come to my primary components and just do that. And immediately every every child component, every instance rather of that component would be affected. Let's test that out. I want to come here and give it a 15. Let's see, 5. So you see how all of them are just affected by whatever thing I do, right? But anything I do here, same thing, if I reduce here, they all get reduced. If I increase, they all get increased, right? That's an instance. And another key thing we want to get to know about is, variance, right? Variance. That's a really, really cool feature. Really cool feature. Uh, So you can see I selected all these components already, and you can see right here it says combine as variants. So if I combine them as variants, you see what pops up here. It says I have four variants of of these components, and if we come right here we can be able to move it around and all of that. Now variants is actually very is a cool feature, right? And it has a very interesting use case. And of course, like what variants, the English word means, variation or something, so that in case you're in a situation, and if we come right here, it's called, property. It's usually named property by default, so we can always rename it. Say, let's say we want to say links, or yeah, let's just say links, right? Let's just call it links. And one thing you always want to see, so you don't now get to see all these multiple things. They don't necessarily have to be individual any longer. Like you can see right here, right? We are having all these individual links. But for this is literally our variant. So all I have to do is just get one of these for my use. And if say I duplicate this, I duplicate. Say I don't want all of them to be public because they have multiple variations of the same thing, which is just about really colors, right? I'll just come here. What's going on? What's going on? Why does this my why does this guy like falling my hands? Link body, yeah. Come on, man. We have multiple variations. So we should be able to swap. Bro, man, what is going on here? Isn't this? I'm so sorry. Let's check this out again. What's going on here? Like I can literally see include four variants. Why can't I find my variants? Bro, I can't find my variants. Possibly I think possibly we may have to do something, right? Let's just take this out. Okay. Let's just take this out, right? Let's bring this out here. Let's try that again. Let's try this again. So, and one other exciting thing, right? You can just choose to do create multiple components and make all of them components at once, and you can still get to see the combine as variants here, right? And if I still get to do create component set, I think that is also another way of variance, right? That's another way of variance. And let me try this again. Hmm, my goodness, my goodness. Let's try this again. Create component sets, um, links. Okay, some variants have the same property values applied. Change the value of this to resolve this. Okay, I think now I actually know the issue, right? It's like you said, they are conflicting, right? Have the same property value, so they are conflicting. And I think it's literally about how I named these files back here. You see that they are all named public, 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 public. That's exactly why that was the problem, right? So I want to correct that. We have the same. So I see, you see why sometimes it's very, very important we get to calm down and read. We don't really have to be, in a hurry in everything or rushing over everything. And it helps us get frustrated quickly and we don't get to make any progress. So I think I should have fixed that now. So let's try this again. Okay, now you can see it's named links, and right here you see everything. So I can quickly swap an instance, say member, so I swap it to outside. So all of these things will just have to be one of these. And like I was trying to cite an instance here, I could just decide this already has variations of this has a variation, this already have like four variations. So I can choose to swap. Okay, I want this to be members only. I want this to be login. I can just come here and swap it. So that's literally what um you know um you know variants can do for you. It's really an exciting feature where you don't really want to clog your your Canva with so much. So you just want to keep everything. So you just want to have one component housing multiple variations where you can swap to whichever you want to use. And the only moment you want to use variants is mainly situation where there are similarities. Like this, there's a lot of similarity. These are lengths, right? They are all rectangles, just little variation. The only variation we have is the text in it and the colors. So that's all right. And yeah, I'm just going to delete all of this. And another exciting thing we can just get to do, we can just get to make this entire thing a component, right? Make it a component, and you see the name right here is entire body, which is also very, very cool. And you can always come here to, we can use it to do whatever we want to use for our designs, right? And mind you, when you make an instance, like that instance can only work for itself, right? Take for this, if I try to duplicate something, I cannot duplicate. Like it's the same thing that is has the auto layout and very responsive seems not to be responsive. That's because that's just how an instance is. It really doesn't want any change to itself. So maybe before I want to make that as an instance, maybe I may actually come to the primary here. No, actually, let me do that. What an instance only wants to do, it only wants to take commands from its primary component. So if I want to add more contents here, I just want to do this here like so that maybe I make it a component so that as I'm designing, if I no longer want this, I can just come here, I can easily delete from here, right? We can do multiple of these however we want. We can get as much of this as we want. And of course, we can also get our auto flow. We come to our plugins, get our auto flow, and we use that to connect. If you still remember how we do our thing, you know, we connect that to here and all of that. Just adding. So yeah, I think this is all of that. So in this course, in this module, we were able to cover auto flow, and we were able to do a little bit of responsive design. So you can literally take this to all of your designs, even down to even when we did our, our landing page, our very first design. You can go back to your landing page design and attempt this. Try wrapping everything in frames and using the auto layout so that when you try to shrink the size of the screen, your contents fits that new size, right? So you can get to try this out. So we covered that. We also did, components and instances, and we also got to cover variants. So yeah, thank you so much. Thank you so much. And we're going to be looking at a lot of exciting things, and we're going to be going into the next soft skills. This is really going to really help us as we advance into completing this ecom project. Thank you so much. See you on the next video. Bye.